welcome back. Now let us look at an example of the policies in the fisheries industry in Kenya. And we are going to look at the National Oceans and Fisheries Policy of 2008 with specific emphasis on the guiding principles and the objectives within this policy. This policy is guided by several principles, actually 8 principles that guide this policy. And the first principle that guides this policy is the policy of good governance, precisely governance of co-management and transparency. When I talk of co-management, I'm referring to a management that involves all the key players at a given time. So the first principle is the principle of good governance, which entails co-management and transparency. The second guiding principle is the ecosystem approach to management, or what is called holistic approach to resource management, managing a system as a whole, not as a sector. Management that considers all the various components within. The third principle is the pro-poor approach. That is the approach that considers the common man, not the approach that considers the high and the mighty. This policy is therefore focused towards improving the livelihood of the common man, the pro-poor. The policy is therefore pro-poor, how to defend the poor mwananchi. The fourth guiding principle is the precautionary approach principle. This principle simply entails taking management measures based on best available information. Saying the policy will insist on taking management measures based on the best available information. No gambling. Will always be cautious, precautionary. The next guiding principle to this policy is what we call public-private partnerships, that is the PPPs. The public shall provide enabling environment for the private sector to grow. The next principle is sustainability and environmental integrity. The policy shall also be guided by the principle of environmental integrity and sustainable use of the environment and its resources. The next principle is subsidiarity, which simply means making and implementing decisions at the most relevant levels. Any level that is seen to be relevant, then decisions shall be made at such levels. This policy advocates for such kind of decision making, so that the decisions are not unilaterally made. Decisions are not imposed on the common man or the implementers or the stakeholders. And then the final guiding principle is the principle of equity. And here we are referring to the generational equity, fair access, and use of resources. So those are the 8 principles that guided the formulation of the National Oceans and Fisheries Policy of 2008. Moving forward, what are the objectives of this policy? The overall objective of this policy is to enhance the fisheries sector's contribution to wealth creation, increased employment for youth and women, food security and revenue generation through effective private, public and community participation. This policy focuses on the promotion, implementation, and monitoring of sustainable management and responsible fisheries and fishing practices. It also focuses on the promotion of fish consumptions or consumption as a means of increasing food security, employment, income, foreign exchange earnings that arises from trade and related activities. The policy aims at securing the rights of the vulnerable and traditional fisher communities. And finally, the policy states the government's commitment to promote gender equity and to integrate issues of HIV/AIDS prevention and management. Those are the broad objectives of this policy. However, the policy has specific objectives. Policy has specific objectives, and the objectives are 9 in number. The first specific objectives for the National Oceans and Fisheries Policy 2008 is to promote conservation and management of fisheries resources in Kenya. To promote the conservation and management of fisheries resources. The second objective is to maximize revenue from fisheries and other related activities. To maximize revenue from fisheries and other related fisheries activities. The third objective is to promote an integrated economy. Promotion of an integrated economy. The other specific objective is to enhance food supply and food security. Enhancement of food supply and food security. Next objective is to promote safety at the sea. Promotion of sea safety. Safety of our fishermen at the sea, safety of our officers at the sea. The next objective is to develop aquaculture. This policy aims at the development of sustainable aquaculture. Aquaculture that can improve the livelihood of its people. The eighth objective is to promote recreational and ornamental fisheries. Promotion of recreational and ornamental fisheries. And finally, the last objective is to develop the ocean fisheries or the marine fisheries, or if you'd like to develop the blue economy fisheries. In our next class, we are going to look at different policy, and again we'll be keen on the guiding principles and the objectives in each of the policies that we are going to discuss. Let's meet next time.